So welcome to classification in machine learning. So before seeing about classification, we will be seeing the difference between supervised learning and what is meant by unsupervised learning. Supervised learning algorithms are trained using our label data. We know what is the data we are going to deal with. In unsupervised learning, we are not knowing what type of data we are going to deal with. And second difference is supervised learning model takes direct feedback to check if the prediction is correct or wrong. In unsupervised learning, there is no possibility of taking the feedback. After training the model and creation of model only, we will know what is the result we are ending up. And the third difference is supervised learning model predicts the output and unsupervised learning model finds the hidden patterns which is surrounding the data. And in the unsupervised learning, only the input data is provided to the model. We will not know what is the output. In supervised learning, input data is provided to the model along with the output. So we can easily predict what is the category of output we get for that particular input. And the next difference is the main goal of supervised learning is to train the model so that it can predict the output whenever it is given a new data. So it can easily refer to the training data and it can tell us. And the goal of unsupervised data is to find the hidden patterns and to give us useful insights which is derived from that particular patterns, because the data set itself is unknown to us. And in supervised learning, it needs the supervision of a member to get train the model. In unsupervised learning, it does not need any supervision. And the next difference is in supervised learning, it can be classified with the major categories, like we can do classification and we can do regression. But in unsupervised learning, we can do clustering as well as we can do association related problems. And supervised learning can be used for cases where we know the input as well as the corresponding output, as discussed earlier. And here unsupervised learning can be used for those cases where we have only one input and there is no output. And the supervised learning models are very accurate. It can give accurate results. Unsupervised learning model may give less accurate results when compared to supervised learning. And as we know, we usually tell like supervised learning is not close to ANN or artificial intelligence. We first train the model for each data and then only we can predict the correct data. But in unsupervised learning, it is more close to artificial intelligence as it learns similarly as a child learning during the daily routine, whatever it does. And again, through experiences, it just cluster or associate the data. Next one, it includes various algorithms such as linear regression, logistic regression, support vector mission, multi-class classification, decision tree. These are all the famous algorithm which comes under supervised. And here in unsupervised, we come across various algorithms like clustering, KNN, and a priori. So basically, what is mean by classification algorithm? It is nothing but it is one of the supervised learning technique that is used to identify the category of new observations based on your training data set. So one of the best example, I can tell whether the mail which we are receiving is a spam mail or not a spam, or the picture which is shown to us whether it is a cat or whether it is a dog. And these categories are mainly called as labels, or we can call as targets. So when this algorithm is implemented, we are having two types of classifications. One is called as binary classification. The other one is called as multi-class classification. So what is meant by binary classifier is nothing but if the classification problem has only two possibilities. Okay, whether it is male or female, whether it is yes or no, whether it is spam or not spam. So that is called as binary. Only two answers will be available. Next is called as multi-class classifier. If the classification problem has more than two outcomes, then it is called as multi-class classification. Say for example, the classification of crops, whether it is rice, paddy, or wheat. There might be n number of classification of crops and classification of musics. Okay, jazz, pop, retro. There are n number of classification of music. So we will have n number of classes. Thank you.